Over the years, wrestlers have portrayed various gimmicks in the world of WWE. However, the unique sense of mysteriousness that a supernatural character invokes in fans is unmatched. It becomes even more exceptional when one of those performers turns out to be an all-time great of the industry, like The Undertaker. He changed the viewer's perspective and paved the way for future grapplers to try their hands at a superhuman or outrageous gimmick. While every one of these wrestlers couldn't reach the heights that Taker's career reached, some did come close. Here, we look at 10 WWE wrestlers who portrayed supernatural or outrageous gimmicks. So sit back and enjoy.
What the hell is going on here?
The Undertaker. The Undertaker can quickly be dubbed the first wrestler who introduced the wrestling world to a supernatural gimmick. The fans hadn't seen anything like the Phenom when he debuted in the 1990 Survivor Series. His mythical persona and extraordinary character work quickly made him a crowd favorite. Taker's numerous returns from his kayfabe deaths were also an aspect the wrestling fans loved about him. Who could forget his return after being buried alive by Mankind in the first ever Buried Alive match in 1996? Or when the Death Valley native rose back from the ashes after being burned alive after a casket match by Randy Orton and Cowboy Bob Orton in 2005. These instances over the years have helped cement Taker's mystical legacy in WWE. Granted, the dead man was equally proficient between the ropes, but it was his supernatural gimmick that distinguished him from the rest of his peers. We may never see the likes of The Undertaker again in the Stamford-based promotion.
Tall-driven, the Priest!
Kane. How could WWE replicate The Undertaker's successful character and build a new main event star? Simple, by introducing a demonic kayfabe half-brother to the Phenom, namely Kane. It wasn't the 7-foot monster's first rodeo with WWE, as he had previously competed there, first portraying an evil dentist character, Dr. Isaac Yankem DDS, and later as Fake Diesel. Both the gimmicks failed to deliver the desired impact, and WWE was forced to think out of the box. The wrestling juggernaut finally struck gold when they debuted the Kane gimmick in the In Your House Bad Blood PPV in 1997. When the towering wrestler interfered in the Undertaker vs. Shawn Michaels match, it was quickly established that the Big Red Machine was the half-brother of Taker. What followed was a 2-decade-long fruitful run in WWE for the Demon's favorite son. He was the resident monster of the roster and continuously tortured wrestlers during his time there. Kane's rivalry and subsequent team-up with his half-brother Taker was the highlight of his career. The super heavyweight wrestler is responsible for giving many young fans sleepless nights over the years. Bray Wyatt. WWE fans thought no one could come up with a supernatural gimmick after The Undertaker and Kane anymore. Along came Bray Wyatt with his kayfabe Wyatt family to captivate the masses with his enchanting spell. Although he could not forge a connection with the WWE fans through his previous gimmick, Husky Harris, Wyatt worked on a new mystical character that would send chills down everyone's spine for years. He first groomed the Wyatt persona in NXT before unleashing his new avatar to the main roster in 2013. The Eater of the Worlds would play sinister mind games with his adversaries and almost always managed to break them mentally. The duo of Luke Harper and Eric Rowan proved able allies as the Wyatt family wreaked havoc on WWE programming as long as they were together. The new face of fear reinvented himself and introduced a new demonic character, the Fiend, in 2019. This persona saw Wyatt portray two personalities simultaneously, one that featured a version of himself and the other, his alter ego of a monstrous entity. His eerie music and scary demeanor still haunt fans to date. The Stamford-based promotion had never seen the likes of Wyatt before and probably wouldn't see them going forward. The legendary wrestler passed away in 2023, leaving a lasting legacy in the wrestling business. Demon Finn Balor. The case of the demon persona that Finn Balor portrays is a curious one. The Irish veteran seldom lets his supernatural side control him, but he leaves the audience spellbound whenever he paints his body black, red, or purple and dons his frightening getup. A spectator feels a profound sense of amazement when seeing Balor's otherworldly version pull off his every maneuver in a much darker manner. The demon character sees the gifted performer take an ultra-aggressive approach in the ring compared to his usual self, keeping the fans on the edge of their seats. Balor has had some of his biggest matches in WWE in this devilish gimmick. The Prince is a wrestling royalty in his regular persona, but the demon persona provides another dimension to his greatness.
Down on that aerial, did you see those teeth? Uh-oh. Oh, watch it! Oh, God almighty!
Kevin Thorne, aka Mordecai. The 2006 WWE version of ECW featured a mix of wrestlers who were either wrestling legends or in the nascent stage of their journey. However, some names like Kevin Matthew Fertig, aka Kevin Thorne, were repackaged after a previous unsuccessful stint. The wrestler would portray a sadistic vampire character who would be accompanied to the ring by the hellish Ariel. Thorne would frequently spit kayfabe blood and put on a vampire-like getup every time he appeared on ECW programming. He failed to muster any excitement among the fans like his previous gimmick, which also fell flat. Mordecai saw the same performer portray a pious and religious character dressed in white, with white hair and a beard. The gimmick was the antecedent of the Undertaker's persona, as it was angelic. There was intrigue for the character initially. However, Fertig's failure to build a compelling narrative around Mordecai meant that his WWE main roster run failed miserably. Gangrel. Another vampire on this list, David William Heath, aka Gangrel, rejoined WWE in 1998 after stints in ECW and WCW. He was immediately assigned a vampire gimmick, which, to his credit, he portrayed brilliantly. Heath would adopt all mannerisms of the blood-sucking monsters and even came to the ring with a kayfabe goblet of blood, which he spit in the air before entering the squared circle. Gangrel's iconic diabolical stable, The Brood, with Edge and Christian, is still fondly reminisced in wrestling circles. While the Canadian duo became legends of the business, Heath's career path went very differently. Gangrel embarked on a single run after parting ways with the group. However, he failed to break the mold of a mid-card act and was released from WWE in 2001. Though Heath occasionally appeared in WWE in later years, his involvement with the organization never regained permanent status. He remained in the independent circuit after his WWE exit, and has also made some appearances in the rival promotion AEW. Gregory Helms, aka Hurricane. The most unique gimmick in WWE must be the Hurricane. The cape-wearing superhero became an instant sensation soon after he arrived in WWE in the summer of 2001. He had previously competed in WCW as a regular performer under the moniker Gregory Helms. It was implied that Helms's kayfabe superhuman powers included the ability to fly and unnatural core strength. The North Carolina native was tremendously popular with the fans, as everyone loved his hilarious mannerisms. Such a spectacular portrayal of the Hurricane meant Helms had a long run in the WWE main roster until 2005. After a 3-year stint as a non-superhero wrestler, he reverted to the superhero persona, this time as Hurricane Helms, and competed in WWE until his release from the company in 2010. The former cruiserweight champion also continued the superhuman act in the independent circuit. Helms signed a legend contract with the Stamford-based promotion in 2022 after brief runs in TNA and AEW. Boogeyman. Never has a WWE superstar invoked the feeling of creepiness in a fan like Boogeyman, whose real name is Martin Wright. The wrestler was the stuff of nightmares as he painted his head red and ate live worms. The image of worms stuffed in his mouth might send many into a frenzy even today. Wrestling fans and opponents were shaken alike when he uttered the dreadful phrase, "I'm the Boogeyman, and I'm going to catch you." This was followed by the former Tough Enough contestant bursting into maniacal laughter. Boogeyman wouldn't stop at that as he broke an alarm clock on his head, adding to his already eerie act. Over the years, top WWE names like John Cena, JBL, and Booker T have been terrorized by Wright's torturous presence. Unfortunately, his limited wrestling ability meant he mainly featured in more minor, inconsequential matches. Nevertheless, Boogeyman's petrifying gimmick and spine-chilling portrayal mean he'll always be part of wrestling folklore. Kamala. A WWE wrestler rarely competes barefoot, wears face paint, and dons just loincloth, unless you are Kamala, a performer who had various runs with the WWE in the 80s and 90s. He portrayed an African gimmick, dubbed the Ugandan Giant. Kamala, 3 brief stints in the WWE, and even challenged the immortal Hulk Hogan during his second run with the company. The super heavyweight wrestler competed in various promotions apart from WWE, namely Continental Wrestling Association, Mid-South Wrestling, and WCW. His career failed to skyrocket to the heights that his potential initially promised, but Kamala gimmick indeed could be termed as outrageous.
Like you can see it, I'll be with the Vestal Virgins, I'm sure. Oh my goodness!
Papa Shango. Ask any 90s kid who portrayed the scariest WWE gimmick at the time. You'd be surprised how many would choose Papa Shango, aka the Godfather, aka Charles Wright, over the Undertaker. A wrestler with terrifying face paint who would carry a skull to the ring was not meant for the faint-hearted. Add to that Shango casting voodoo spells on his adversaries and switching arena lights off at will. Who could forget the eerie performer cursing the Ultimate Warrior to writhe with stomach pain at ringside in 1992? Fans criticized the character back then as it was chosen as the worst gimmick in the 1992 Wrestling Observer Newsletter Award. This lukewarm response from fans meant that the Shango gimmick was dropped soon. However, the portrayal has garnered fan appreciation over the years. Wright later portrayed other notable characters on WWE programming in later years, a wrestling machine named Kama and his most successful persona, that of the Godfather.
What the hell is going on here?
Marvelous verdict. All the wrestlers on the list might be on different spectrums regarding the success of their supernatural or outrageous gimmicks. The thing that is common is that they managed to entertain fans at some point in time with their distinctive characters. While some of these portrayals faded over time, some became a part of the fans' lives forever. Others might not have reached the levels of popularity back in the day, but wrestling fans have a kinder view of them in today's world. Irrespective of the success, it's almost impossible to forget a performer who portrayed a superhuman or flamboyant gimmick in WWE.